So today is November 26th, Friday, 2021.
Beginning of the weekend.
So the weekend starts today, so traffic is lighter. Why does it start on Friday?
Because the Shabbat is... God finished to do his work on Friday evening, and then the Shabbat starts. So it starts today. You can't start on Shabbat and have Shabbat and Sunday. You have to start this evening. The Jewish day starts on the evening of the previous day, not at midnight.
So the whole day is light today and tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Sunday it gets busy again.
Sunday everybody goes to work. Shops open, everything.
So what are we going to do today?
Today we're going to visit Yad Vashem, the memorial museum for the Holocaust. And then we'll go to visit parts of the Israel Museum. And then Bethlehem, Church of Nativity. And this will be all for today.
Well, that's a lot. Vachahim.
Yad Vashem. Yad is a word for memorial. Memorial to the events that took in the Holocaust and to the people. Started as more and more refugees and survivors of the Holocaust came to Israel and started to try to look for relatives. They gathered here, many of them in Jerusalem, and then there was a radio station who would have an hour where people will send their letters. At that time, no telephones, it's only the beginning. So people will send their letters. I am Moshe Shkedi, I'm looking for anyone who lived in this place, who knows about my family. If you heard something, come to Jerusalem, and people gather here again and again, and then the government decided to do it much more organized. But before we go into the darkness, this is actually show us that even in the darkest time, there can be some light. And this is called the Righteous of Nation Avenue. And each of those trees here, and many more on the mountain, because we do discover more and more people. Again, each tree represents a person that were willing to help Jews, risking his hair, life, and for no benefit whatsoever. There was no financial benefits or any other kind of benefits whatsoever for doing that. A very good example is everybody knows Schindler. His tree is not from here, from Schindler's List.
Yeah.
He was Nazi supporter, and when he came here, there were a few people who said, "No, how come we let him in? He was a Nazi, and his factory was supporting the Nazi war efforts, but by doing that, it's enabled him to eventually to save many Jewish lives." This tree here is for Irena Sandler, Polish nurse who worked in the ghetto, went into the ghetto every day to support the orphanage, one of the orphanage in the ghetto, in Warsaw ghetto, taking people who lost their parents, taking them out. Doing that, she risked her life, and the way she did it, she took infants, and she put them in milk jars, big milk jars, and drove them out. She had also a driver, and then the driver said to her, "Listen, they are crying there, and a guard will be able to hear them crying, and we will be immediately prosecuted." And the death penalty was immediate in the case of Nazis. If you helped, it's in many cases it's what you and your family death penalty.
Just like Herod.
Even more.
Yeah.
So they were trying to think what to do, and actually the driver came with an idea. He brought his dog, and he trained his dog to bark every time she hears crying. So the guards didn't hear the crying of the children.
I read about that.
Yeah. And they continue to save so many lives. So this is righteous of nation. There is a U.S. soldier, and we spoke about POWs, who was one U.S. soldier who became righteous of nation because they were in prison, and he was the head of the prisoners, and the Nazis came to him and told him, tomorrow bring us all the Jews. And the next day they're standing in line and say, all the Jews come forward. And he already pre-ordered everybody, when this will be done, everybody is moving forward. So the whole camp, all the prisoners move forward and say, we are all Jews. And saving the American Jewish soldiers. So in every darkness there is always light. It's always hard, it's always risky. But if you remember yesterday we spoke about Simon of Karen, if you're doing the right thing, eventually there is and we remember, and there was a Muslim family who helped saving Jewish lives in Kosovo. And when the war in Kosovo happened, some of the survivors and the son and the grandchildren of the survivor went and rescued that family and brought them here, and they immediately became citizens of Israel. The mother passed away, but the daughter actually found her way to work here in the Yad Vashem.
We are going into the Israeli Museum.
Chaim Lezer, 14 years old, Romania. Chinka Blas, 9-year-old, Poland.
November 26, 2021, and we're looking at a map of Old Jerusalem.
This is Jerusalem in the year 69.
Okay, right
Maybe.
after Jesus.
Yeah, right after. You see my green light?
Well, let's make sure I see it.
I do.
You see
I see the green light.
the green light. So this is ancient Jerusalem, what I'm showing now. The city, when David captured the city and made it the capital of his kingdom, this is the city of David, and because there is a spring somewhere here, he made it, Jerusalem was down here and not up the mountain. His son is adding this part to the city, and he builds a small temple, not as big as we see now, but he builds a small temple in the city. A few hundred years later, 250 around years
Your
later,
green dot is going faster than I can see.
so few hundred, and sometimes my finger is up. So few hundred, 200 years later, the Assyrians are coming to the city and try to take it. And the king of that time, Hezekiah, is building a wall. So go all the way to the corner,
Yeah,
and he's building this wall,
that's a bigger wall.
a much bigger wall. And we saw, now I lost the green, so the green is now here. We saw, look from where I am down here, we saw yesterday an
Where's the
ancient
green
wall
light?
down here,
Okay,
going up. We saw yesterday part of the ancient wall here, around this area. If you remember, we saw a very wide wall. It's around this area. And then the city was destroyed and was by the Babylonian. The Persians, today Iran, let us, Koresh, the emperor, let us come back, and we rebuilt the city down here with a small temple. Okay? Then came the Hasmoneans, and during their time the city is prosperous, and again the city is growing in the same way that Hezekiah made the city bigger.
so they really went a lot on that one wall over there.
Over there. And then came Herod,
Herod.
the British king.
Oh, Harold.
Herod, the British king.
Yeah, Deb, I was telling you it was Harold.
Come all the way from London and build this magnificent temple, rebuild the temple into making it a magnificent temple. He's the guy who built, you remember I told you arches? So the platform used to be, it wasn't, the temple was smaller, it was, all of this is his doing. People went up to a smaller temple here. So he makes it a huge temple. He built the arches here. So the platform itself is huge and can receive so many pilgrims. Those are the steps we saw that Jesus, when he came to the temple, those are the steps he went into the temple, coming in and out. Remember we took the pictures?
Yes.
And this is where Neil Armstrong stood and said, wow, this is so much more exciting. In terms of, so this is one more addition that Herod's did. And now go with my light, it's going on this wall. And now you see which wall I'm pointing?
Yes.
So Herod's added this wall, so he expanded the city to the north. Again, it prosperous time, more people.
What year was this?
So this is between the year 36 BC and he passed away at 4 BC. So this wall is, it's not one day mission, but he's building it, takes him some time. And yesterday, again, go with me from here on that wall, the wall, and you see where I'm pointing now, the tower?
Yes.
So this is one of 3 towers that he builds in his palace. And this is his palace, and today...
Where's his palace?
So from where the green light now,
Yeah.
to the left. Another tower, and the palace is in there. This is where you saw the show last night.
Okay.
So you've been here inside last night. He builds a huge palace. And today it's Jaffa Gate.
Okay, we're looking at Jesus' miracles in Jerusalem.
So down here is the pool of Siloam, where the blind person was healed.
Okay, right at the wall there.
Yeah, very close to the wall. And if we go up, all the way up, the other side of the temple, there are other pools, the pools of Bethsaida, that Jesus healed the handicapped person.
And that's in that square.
That squares. Those 2 squares, 2 pools. If we're looking at the temple, right side of the temple, the big fortress is the Antonia, station number 1 and 2.
Okay, that's station 1 and 2.
Where the trial took place and where he was flogged, took most of his clothes and put him the crown of thorn and the cross.
Okay.
And then he walks through the city, and we're looking at now on the gate that he came out. This is already station number 7, where he goes out from the gate of Jerusalem. And where I'm pointing now, this is the area of the Golgotha.
Okay.
Now, during his time, it's outside of the city. This wall that we see behind the Golgotha was built between the years 66 and 68 to protect the city during the revolt against the Romans.
Okay.
So this was outside of the city. Today's the city wall are going approximately, if you follow the green light, approximately something like that.
Where's the green light?
From this corner of the
Okay.
temple. Today's wall are going approximately, so the Temple Mount is there, and the walls are going somewhere like that. And then Jaffa Gate, and it's going somewhere from here. The city is closing to Herod's Gate, and those pools are inside the city. This is today walls, which are very different than Jesus' time.
So where was Jesus crucified?
So he was crucified on the Golgotha rock, which is where I'm pointing around the area of this building.
Okay, so the building is put on top of where he was crucified.
Yeah. Around, but again, this is during his time. It's outside of the city, and there is a quarry there.
And that's important because everybody was
Buried outside of the city.
buried outside of the
And also
city,
crucified outside of the city.
and also crucified outside of the city.
This wall, we have small part of remaining that was found. It was only 2 years existed, only for 2 years. The wall that behind the Golgotha, 66 to 68, they built it, and in 70 when the Roman take over Jerusalem, they completely destroy all the walls of Jerusalem, destroy the city. And the city is rebuilt 100 years, 70 years, 60 years after the revolt, but 100 years after Jesus' crucifixion.
So there's been a lot of building and then destroying and building and destroying. And Jerusalem ends up being like a layer cake, different layers of history.
Which is called tale. It's a living tale because it's still living. Jerusalem was fought over 52 times and was taken by different forces 26 times.
And a lot of times the new regime would destroy the old structures
and rebuild something different.
Build something, and then the next regime would destroy that. Boy, that's a lot of waste.
What we definitely know now, I'm pointing for some of the mistakes. This theater is not there. This one, you see the theater. There was a small theater in Jerusalem. We found it behind these walls, but this one was not found and excavated. This is the house of the high priest. We actually found it. It looks a bit different and was found more on this side.
Where?
So take it to your, in the model, a feet to the left. 2 feet, a feet and a half to the left. This house of the high priest. So some of the mistakes. The pool of Shiloh is down there. They make it smaller. It was actually a very big pool. So in the model, we don't see it from here. In the model, it looks small. They actually found a real, very, very big pool. And there is a hippodrome here, which does not exist.
I'm looking for where you're pointing.
So,
I see there.
Steps,
yep.
Hippodrome.
Oh, okay. And the hippodrome would be the racetrack?
Yeah, racetrack. It's not there. Actually, they did find, they excavated this place. They find the Roman villa. They found a Greek fortress. They found, there are many findings there. Not in a hippodrome. There's a scroll is one. The book of Isaiah, Hebrew. And here, so here is the sentence which I wrote you, which we read when we were in Capernaum, moving from the tribes of Zebulun and Naphtali to the Sea of Galilee. Much before the New Testament. So today it looks to us so obvious, but there were so many debates with research says no, the whole stuff wasn't written that long ago. It's written later, and the New Testament, the Old Testament was updated according to the New Testament. And it's the stories our archaeologists tell us more and more that the stories are very.
So now we're going to Bethlehem, and Bethlehem is in Palestine?
In the Palestinian Authority. That it's in Palestine. Now we are entering the West Bank.
And the West Bank is
this
part of Israel?
No, it's not part of Israel. It's occupied by Israel in 1967. And not all of it, but part of it were offered by Israel. Most of it was offered by Israel more than once to the Palestinians to have a state, and they refused because they also always want more. There's also other issues, refugees issues that they want to. So they, until now, they refused any peace offer. So these are still either under Israeli military control or Palestinian Authority control, which interim agreement we did reach with the Palestinians, where they govern 90% of their people.
So what are we going to see in Bethlehem?
We're going to see the Church of the Nativity.
Where Jesus was born.
Jesus was born, exactly. At that time, stables were almost part of the house. And in the stables, there weren't just your horses. If you own a horse, you were a very rich person. In many cases, it will be your few, 2, 3, 5 goats and a donkey.
And what town are we in?
Beit Jala, just beside Bethlehem. We're driving
Okay.
to Bethlehem. They're building the Christmas tree.
Oh, okay.
But the most important church in my city is the one with the golden dome. You're gonna drive us now. No, it's a church with a golden dome. It's a church that a very famous saint that gives you gifts on Christmas. You call him Santa.
Saint Nicholas?
Saint Nicholas lived inside a cave that's this church built on top for 2 years. So this is Saint Nicholas Church. And that's why my father's name is Nicholas. My son's name is Nicholas. Every second guy name is Nicholas in this city. Due to Saint Nick living in my city a few years. Other than Bethlehem Catholic University, guess what? It's connected with Lewis University in Chicago. Partnership. The Frere brothers run that university, and my brother studied in Chicago in the partnership of that university, Lewis University.
Yeah, we know right here.
Yeah. But that building I like to show you, which is Nissan Restaurant. It's just because that's where I got married 5-6 years ago. So, yeah.
And 4 kids?
Yeah, imagine.
You're good.
Yeah.
Bethlehem.
Bethlehem, this is the way the Hebrew language would pronounce Bethlehem, Bethlehem, and it means the house of bread, while in Arabic, Bethlehem means the house of meat. So why house of bread, house of meat? Because Bethlehem lies on the border between the Judean desert, I will show you the view in a minute, and the Green Mountains on the other side, where lots of our Old Testament stories happened there, and people have seen Bethlehem as the place where they could get food. That's why the name. Even Old Testament, they used to call Bethlehem Ephrata, the fertile land. And I'll show you a view now, an amazing view of the shepherd's field and the Church of the Nativity, and a very nice mountain, calling it Herodian.
So this is Bethlehem.
Yes, it's Bethlehem district. Bethlehem starts from almost that hotel, going all the way up and towards us. We are in Bethlehem. The valley down there is the shepherd's field. That's where the shepherds were when the angel appeared to them and gave them the good. The angels told them, "Fear not, your Savior is born. Just go up to the place where Jesus is born." Alright, over there you're gonna find the child laid in a crib that they needed to take almost 45 minutes walk. From the shepherd's field, you see the trees over there towards the place where Jesus told. Nobody knows exactly where the angel appeared to the shepherds. We know it's in that area. That's why there is a Catholic shepherd's field, there is a Protestant shepherd's field. In the middle of the city there is an Orthodox shepherd's field. And everybody fights together. Who has the right place? Good question. We must have another boy, Jesse. And Jesse said, I have one more. My shepherd, my youngest, he's in the fields, and his name is David. Bring David. I want to see him. Once Samuel saw David, knew this guy's going to become the new king of the land. He was only 13, but later became also a big king, right?
Yes.
King David. So this is the city of David. This is how Christmas story comes around. New Testament tells us Joseph and Mary had to go to the city of Bethlehem, which is the city of David. And this is not a very simple information. Throughout the whole Old Testament, Jerusalem is the city of David. You open New Testament first page, it tells you Bethlehem is the city of David. Both are true. This is where he was born and raised. Over there he had built that city. Okay, one more thing here to explain is that mountain that looks like a volcano if you see it.
Yeah.
Amazingly, it's actually two hills. One was put on the other, creating that mountain. On top, another palace that was built, 6th floor palace for Herod the Great, to be able to see Jerusalem from there. Herod the Great lost palace. I mean, the guy moved mountains, had clothing like holy men from their own religion. So they thought this has something to do with us. We'll not destroy this one. And that's why I'm allowed to tell you here, that's the oldest building you're going to enter in your trip in Israel and Palestine. That's the oldest church in the Holy Land. It's the most beautiful one, actually. It's an amazing church once we get in. Justinian also made a bigger gate. If you see that gate, we call
Yeah.
it Justinian gate. That gate was made smaller by the Crusades. Whenever you see arch gates, Crusader period, European style, that gate was made even smaller by the locals of Bethlehem when we had the Mamelukes. See, Mamelukes were Muslims, but not Arabs. We think most Arabs are Muslims. True, there is Arab Christians, and there is Muslims that are not Arabs. Like any Muslim from China, he's not Arabic, but he's still a Muslim, right?
Right.
So these Mamelukes were Muslims, but not Arabs. They did not respect the Christians of the city. Many times they went in with their horses inside. And the Christians of Bethlehem want to do something against it. What can we do? Simple, yeah? We just made the door smaller. No horse could get in, and nothing big could be stolen from the church. Till today, people write, you should give respect for the whole place. The gate of humility, that we
Yeah.
call it. But you know, the name came after that we made it. Okay. Early Christianity
Yeah.
story. My priest will come out to speak with anybody who would like to know more about Jesus Christ. It would be a nice place, a fountain, trees, and so on. After half an hour, this person goes, all right, I believe. Jesus Christ is my Savior. So my priest, beginning of Christianity, will tell him, okay, now that you believe, you're allowed in. But only to a room. And in that room you get baptized. And after that you get into the church. So believing, baptizing, into the church. That baptizing part doesn't take their place anymore. Doesn't take place there anymore. But it's still in use. That room, if my wife comes to pray on a Sunday Mass, but it's her period right now, she's not allowed to go in. She prays from that room. If she had a baby child, boy or a girl, 40 days she can pray from that room, but she's not allowed in. The first 40 days after birth. You might ask me, where is these laws coming from? This is Christianity built on Judaism. This is Jewish laws that the early Christians had and the Orthodox Church kept. You know, Catholic Church didn't keep it, but many Oriental churches kept it. Right? Okay, let's go in.
Going to the Church of Nativity.
This is the original floor of the church from the 4th century, 325. The colors of these stones is the core colors of these stones. 3 millimeters and 3 millimeters. It's royal mosaics. And we discovered this new only in 1932. That we had a big earthquake in 1927. And the architect said, take the floor out. I want to see the foundation of the church. We took the floor out. There you go. Beautiful mosaic floor. Amazing. By the way, the icons on the columns are also Crusader period, all of them. For the frankincense, to bless the church.
So there's a cave system underneath there, and that's where Jesus was born.
In the last cave of the cave system, where the stable was. Jesus born in a stable, and the stable is not a barn wooden, it's a cave. And it's the last cave of the inn. It's not a cave outside, it's a cave all the way inside. Right? So, out from there, make his round in the church, and then they will open this gate for us so that we'll get to see the place too.
So this is the cleansing of the church.
Technically, yeah, to get the bad spirit out. Blessing it in a way or another. You're not allowed to just because he's gonna pass here.
So So this is the door they'll open for us?
Should count to 3. There you go. This is what we call Mother Mary of Bethlehem. What's so special about it? You only find Mother Mary with a sad face. She always connected with the agony of Jesus Christ. This is a happy Mother Mary. She's smiling then, right? It's the birth of her son. Mother Mary of Bethlehem is a happy Mother Mary. You don't find this a lot, but this is beautiful. It represents the genealogy of Jesus from Abraham to Jesus. It's 3 times 14, which brings 14 points. And number 3 was always to assure things. Like 3 times 14 is the correct thing. And Jesus is born after 3 times 14 from Abraham to Jesus. Right? Now, why Abraham? Jesus, it's the covenant. There is a deal between God and Abraham. Through you and your descendants, somebody will come bless your nation and all nations in the world. That's what we call it in the Old Testament. And we as Christians believe that this Old Testament is fulfilled with the birth of Jesus Christ, the start of the New Testament, right? The Old Testament is done with his birth. That's why the connection between Abraham and Jesus, the fulfillment of the covenant. Now, truth to be told, the Bible tells us after his birth, his mother wrapped him in a piece of cloth and laid him in a manger. So we're looking at 2 places. This is just the birth. Where is the manger place? You look behind, there's 3 steps. The 5 oil lamps. We can go down.
Kamal, what do the 5 oil lamps represent?
It just represents the place where the manger was.
Okay.
So the manger was here. Nothing will happen to them. So yes. Guys, this is the stable, right? Think of this. This is where the animals were. All of the place. This is where the animals were. Why would Mother Mary go to the stable? The Bible tells us because there was no place for her in days. And that's why she had to go as far as she could to the last cave of the inn, which was the stable. So over here she was by herself, warm, comfortable. Technically, guys, the best place for Mother Mary to have a child in the inn was here. And it's not the worst place, as so many people think.
Was this part of the
Cave system. And the gate takes you to the other caves. We're going to try to go there from the Catholic Church. This cave was burned 19th century, 1885, 84. A fight between Catholics and Orthodox. Who should be the protector and savior of such places? They fought against each other, not willingly, but they burned the place where Jesus was born.
How can you divide it?
One place among the Christian denominations. Very tough, right?
Yeah.
Guess what? With time, you can divide everything. 8 till 8:30, you're in a Catholic place. Half an hour later, it's Armenian. Half an hour later, it's Greek Orthodox. It keeps changing. This place keeps changing among time, right? Like time-wise. 12 o'clock is Catholic again. 2 o'clock is Armenian. 2:30, the last Mass, was Greek Orthodox, and that's why my priest came in with his, frankincense.
Yeah, the cleansing.
Yes. All right. You could still see the sign of the fire that happened 200 years.
So the original caves were here, or the...
Down here, when they built the church, the original entrance after building the church on top of the caves. The caves were at earth level, but they built the church on top, made it feel as if the cave system is underneath. And that was the only entrance and exit at the beginning. Entrance would be from here. Mother Mary and Joseph came from here, and she went all the way to the last cave where she had her baby. Makes sense? The last cave of the animals would be here because they would give heat for the people. people sleep nicely knowing their animals will not run away. Secure, better, and so on. When they built the church, they added a room, and that room is the foundation of the church, and it will be the entrance, the old entrance of the cave system. Nowadays, 200 years ago, 1881, 130 years ago, they made these steps. So we're going down these steps right now. Here in the cave system, just behind here where we were, the place where the stable was. This cave though is thought for Saint Joseph. If you look at the icon behind you, the angel is speaking with Saint Joseph, telling him, fear not, go to Egypt. Herod the Great had gave the order to kill the innocence of Bethlehem. So this is where the flight to Egypt starts. This is where Joseph puts Mary on a donkey with baby Jesus, and the flight will start from here. Funny thing about that story, there's a cultural Bethlehem story. Just a few hundred feet behind, Jesus starts crying, the baby's hungry. His mother gives him her breast, and a drop of milk goes there, goes on the floor. And the place, we call it now the Milk Grotto. And it has a whiter cave. Like if you take a little bit from that stone, people believe, mix it with water, drink it with a specific prayer, miracles should happen. Women who don't get children will get to have children. The funny thing is that many people have tried this and miracles did happen. And they send letters for the church. My mom keeps saying, who in the wonderland doesn't believe in wonders, he is not a realistic person. So to be realistic, you need to believe in miracles, at least in the Holy Land, because it's the land of miracles. Makes sense?
Makes sense.
So, few other caves. There's one down there. Let's check it out. I'm going to go from here down. Herod the Great killed the innocent of 2 years and young. Another cave. Another cave. And we're remembering again the same story that I started with, which is the guy who translated the Bible from Old Greek and Hebrew into Latin. His name is Hieronymus, or you call him in English, Saint Jerome. Saint Jerome needed help, and help he got from these two women. One with the name Paula, a rich Italian woman, who knew Hebrew, so she helped him translate it, and her daughter Estochia, or Estochion, that was engaged but stayed here as a nun. By the way, the first woman convent in the Holy Land was built by Paula to her daughter Estochion. She's the first nun of the Holy Land. With Paula and Estochion, Saint Jerome, and his student Ezekiel of Caesarea, is seen as the librarian of the Catholic Church system. Where Joseph and Mary entered at that time on the earth level. The entry to the cave system. This room, you might think, but this is Neo. This is only 300-400. No, this is the foundation of the old church. This is from the 4th century. This room is really old. We restored it, but it's very old. Many monks, priests who lived here wanted to be buried also in this place. So you see many chambers where also other tombs were here. I believe like monks, priests that served here. Last thing that you should know, the wall you see in front of us wasn't there when Joseph and Mary came, so it was an open cave system. They just went to the end. Right, so this would be also where Jesus was born, because it could be in front of the wall. Nobody knows exactly where. We know the stable was at the end. We put the star all the way at the end of the end, because we know that Mother Mary wanted to go as far as she could away from the people, to be by herself. She's having a child. Nobody wants that. So by looking at the place where Jesus was born, we get to sing one verse of Silent Night. Help me out? Let's try. 1, 2, and 3.
Silent night.
Yeah.
Holy night, all is calm, all is bright,
so tender and mild. Sleep in heavenly peace. Sleep in heavenly peace.
See today as a Catholic cross, even though Orthodox used it before, a better picture of it will be here.
So this is the Orthodox cross?
It was Orthodox used it, but today it's seen as a Catholic cross. It's the 4 wounds of Jesus and the 5th one on his side. It's Jerusalem where the Bible have started with Jesus, died and resurrected, and the 4 corners of the world. It's the Bible and the 4 evangelists. Many explanations for it. It's an amazing cross.
Well, it sounds like Christmas.